I mean, I wish I had $1 for every person on LinkedIn that says, I just got this Google certification, or I just got this certification from Amazon, or XYZ. Just because you get that certification, it doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee anything. What's really going to help you pivot into your career is having a We're talking about the 3 reasons that you are applying for jobs and not hearing back. And so I always like to give a little bit of a backstory about why are we here? Why are we even talking about this? Well, I discovered that one of the biggest pain points of the LinkedIn community right now is that they're applying for jobs and they're not hearing back. But I did a poll, I think last week, and 400 people participated and 250 said that they're sick and tired of applying for jobs and not hearing back. And so I know that when you're applying for jobs and not hearing back, there are 3 things that you are battling. And so you're thinking to yourself, there are so many jobs posted. Why are they going unfulfilled? You know, there are a lot of jobs posted online and they are going unfilled. So that's internal, a battle. You're like, I don't understand this. You also are starting to think that, like, is there something wrong specifically with my resume or my profile that I'm applying and not hearing back? And then a third place where people kind of struggle is that the lack of movement in your job search has you questioning your own skill and your own value. So there are 3, as a result of applying and not hearing back, there are 3 struggles that I know you guys are facing. And I just wanted you to know that I understand the pressure and the time-sensitive nature of, applying for jobs, because you need it right now. I mean, most people who are passively looking, jobs are coming to them, right? They just hear about an opportunity, or someone in their network passes it along to them. But when you actually need a job, those are the people who are on the job boards, applying for jobs, not hearing back, and it's hurting them the most. So that was my motivation for this topic today. So today, I have 3 points about reasons why you're applying on jobs and not hearing back. And I want to share them because I know that without a window or a view into what's going on in the job search process, you can't make any progress. You're stuck. And I'm anti-stuck. We are anti-stuck over here in my corner of the internet, anti-stuck. So I'm giving you the tools so that you can hopefully get unstuck. And I know that once you have more information, then you can create an action plan. And once you have that action plan and you actually start executing, then you start to see the actual progress. So the first reason why you may be applying on jobs and not hearing back is because you don't have a clear target, a clear role, a clear direction of these are the roles that I'm applying for and why. And sometimes I know it's difficult. Like, how do I know? How do I know especially when I'm trying to do a career pivot? How do I take a look at my past experience and pick out what's relevant and align that to something that's going to challenge me and help me take my career to the next level? Sometimes it's just simply, you don't know. That's a research step that is required. And so if you are, there's a couple of ways you can tell if you don't have a clear target in your job search. So the first way you can tell is that you can't tie your experience to the job description. So if you're telling yourself, like, let's see, Jody said she's going for recruiting and HR generalist roles. So if Jody can't take a look at the past roles that she's had and the past experience that she has gained, if she can't directly tie that to the responsibilities and the requirements that she sees on the job description, her job target might not be clear enough. Because you should, when you single in on a target, you should almost know the job description by heart, right? You know exactly what they're talking about, and you can identify areas in your past experience, different examples, different project examples, different things and that you've worked on that you can tie directly to what they're talking about. So that's one of the ways where how to know if my target is not clear. Another way is you feel like the only way to pivot into that new role is to get more education. And sometimes if you are, let's say you come from a non-traditional background and you're trying to break into more of a corporate career, their companies are going away from this, but right now they are requiring some form of education just to weed out, right? Just because of the overwhelming amount of job applicants that they will get if they don't have any weed out process, they do require some education. And so I actually wanted to clear that up because one of my clients came to me and she said, well, Gerrie, you're always talking about you don't need more, you don't need degrees and you don't need more certifications to make your career pivot. I'm thinking about getting this certification. What do you think? And I'm like, let me clear this up. I'm not saying you don't need any education or you don't need any certifications. But if you have education and you have experience, there is likely a role that you can pivot into without additional education, without additional certifications. And I also want to make it clear that just because you get that certification, it doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee anything. What's really going to help you pivot into your career is having a valuable story, being able to articulate your value, and being able to draw connections between what you have done and where you want to go. And so a new piece of paper will not always do it. And so if you're feeling like I can't get this job until I get this certification, you might be targeting a role that is, or trying to make a career pivot that's 2 or 3 steps away, when there's probably a closer jump that you can make without a new certification or a new 4-year degree or master's degree or whatever. So another way that you can tell that your target may not be clear is sometimes you get in the interview and you're like, why am I here? I'm not even sure if I want this job. That means that you're just playing the field, right? And you're just like, I'm hoping to get in the interview and they can convince me in the interview. But if those are 2 different streams of job searching. So I spoke earlier about the person who's passively looking. They can afford to just go into interviews being unsure. I don't know if I want this job. I'm just feeling them out. But if you're actively looking and you need a job, you're interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you, but you are already 100% committed to the process. Because if you're not 100% committed to the process, then you probably haven't prepared enough to make that career pivot. I mean, I wish I had $1 for every person on LinkedIn that says, I'm not going to call people out, but I just got this Google certification, or I just got this certification from Amazon or XYZ, and it doesn't help them land a job months later, a year later. They still don't have the job. So I just want to kind of prevent you guys from going down that track. So let's circle back, because we are a little ways into the rabbit hole. We're talking about 3 reasons that you're applying for roles and not hearing back. And the first reason was that you don't have a very clear target. You're unsure on what roles am I targeting. And then I went into some reasons of how to know if your target is not clear. The second reason that you might not be hearing back, and this is external to you, is that the truth is that these companies are not necessarily looking at the job boards. And that's the other reason that I always say don't apply for jobs online, because you don't know if anybody is ever seeing it. And I was literally just talking to a recruiter yesterday, and we were just having a casual conversation, and she said something, and I said, I have to share that with my audience. She shared the fact that, with all the changes in these companies and the layoffs and the this and the that, a lot of the recruiting departments are being chopped way down. So teams that had 10 people, it's now 2 people. So how are 2 recruiters supposed to comb job boards with thousands of applicants effectively? They literally can't do it. And so you guys are applying for jobs online. You're not hearing back. You're taking it personal. Well, sometimes it's not personal. And sometimes it's just logistically, they can't get to everyone. So that is one reason you're not hearing back. And I hope that this is lifting some of the weight for some of you guys. Drop something in the chat. Let me know the weight is being lifted. It doesn't take away, that you don't have your job, but it should help you shift your perspective that just because I'm not hearing back, it doesn't mean something's wrong with me. So my third reason that you may be applying for jobs and not hearing back is that companies are slowing down on hiring. They're slowing down on hiring, but they haven't taken the job postings down. So let me explain that a little bit more. Companies are taking more time right now, being more cautious, because you're hearing all in the news that we're entering a recession. So companies are being more conscious about who I hire, what roles are absolutely necessary for the goals, the things that are going to move the needle, that are going to move the company forward, and which roles can I put on the back burner. And some of these companies are thinking that I want to keep the role open because I want to have a backlog of people, so that, maybe there is one of those recruiting roles that I talked about. Maybe we cut the team in half, but I'm projecting that in the next 6 months, maybe I'll need that person back. So I want to keep the job open and keep the role open so that I have a backlog of people to go to when I'm looking to open the role, which will probably never happen. They're not going to go back and look through applications from 6 months ago unless it gets completely dry, right? So it's unlikely to be happening. But it's a way for companies to gauge interest as well. It's like, I have these jobs open. Who's interested in my company? What is the job market like? Which roles are getting the most applications? Where is the interest? So having job openings can sometimes be a way for companies to get data that they need to make decisions. And so I'm not saying they're creating jobs, fake jobs. I do think every job that's on a job board was at some point real. I do believe that it was at some point real, but at the moment when you're sitting at your computer and you're about to click submit, with there being so many changes day to day, at the very moment that you click the submit button, the job posting may not be active, is what I want to say. I don't want to say it's a fake job, but it might not be active. And simply because, of the limitations of personnel and everything like that, it's no telling how long that job posting might sit open before someone, from the recruiting or hiring team actually closes it or updates it or what have you. And I just got an email the other day from someone about Amazon, who is shrinking some of the roles that they have posted for their retail services, but they are expanding some of the roles that they have opened for AWS and data services. And so there's a constant ebb and flow with companies as a result of what's going on with the economy and everything. And so I say all this to say that sometimes when you apply for jobs and not hear and you don't hear back, you can't always take it personal, and you have to, look outside of you, right? What's going on around me that could be affecting my lack of, not hearing back, not getting anywhere. And so in terms of like the companies expanding and contracting, I am actually dedicating day one of my workshop that I'm hosting. I'm hosting it starting October 25th. On day one, we're going to be focusing on the industry, what's going on in the industry, what roles are being expanded, what roles are being contracted, how to tell as a job seeker, what should I be going for? Because some of you guys have even said that, you're going for recruiter roles and, different things like that, but in HR roles. And some of these roles are actually being contracted. So that means the job market for you is getting tighter. And so these are things that you have to know as a job seeker. You have to know what's going on in your industry so that you can make decisions. Which companies are actually growing in this area, which companies, and you need to know that, because heaven forbid you take a job at a company not understanding the landscape. And I've seen the messages on LinkedIn that like, I was, 2 weeks into my new role and they got rid of my department. And so it's like, you can't guess, you won't be able to dodge it all, but having that level of information about what's going on with the industry can help you make better decisions. My name is Gerrie. I am an engineer turned engineering manager turned career coach, and I help people aspiring and those in current STEM careers. I help you guys pivot into new roles without applying for hundreds of jobs online and without the need to get extra degrees and certification, because more than likely the skill set that you have is quite possibly enough to get where you want to go. And so that looks like that's all we got for you guys today, and we don't have any questions. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye.